Before the universe awakens you, before clarity arrives, before your life shifts into a higher truth, there will be a test. Not from a judgmental God, not from destiny punishing you, not from karma getting even, but from the intelligence of consciousness preparing you for its own light. Swami Radha said, "Before you can receive divine light, your life will remove everything that is not real." Awakening is not a gentle process. It is a purification, a burning away, a sacred dismantling, and it always begins the same way. Life stops supporting your illusions. That is the first test. 2. When the universe stops letting you pretend. There are moments when everything you relied on suddenly becomes unstable. A friendship becomes strained. Your plans fall apart. A habit that once comforted you begins to feel empty. The people you wanted closest start drifting away. The future you imagined refuses to manifest. These moments are not random. They are not cruel. They are not accidents. They are interruptions of grace. For the universe cannot awaken the person you pretend to be. It can only awaken the person you truly are. So anything built on pretense, fantasy, or self-deception must fall away. This falling away feels like a test, because it is. 3. The universe tests you through people. One of the first ways awakening begins is through people who challenge you, or betray you, or outgrow you, or misunderstand you. Some will leave you without warning. Some will stay, but no longer resonate. Some will provoke wounds you thought were healed. The universe uses relationships like mirrors, not to hurt you, but to reveal the parts of yourself that are still unconscious. Radha said, "A relationship ends not because it failed, but because it completed its teaching." That teaching is part of the test. Can you let go with grace? Can you love without holding? Can you stop confusing attachment with truth? If not, the lesson repeats, but louder. When these illusions break, life feels like it's falling apart. But really, it is falling open. Your old identity begins to crack. Your ego begins to resist. Your heart begins to tremble, because something deeper is wanting to emerge. And the universe whispers, "This is only the first test. Do not run." 5. The pressure increases before the breakthrough. There is a rule in spiritual transformation. When the soul is ready to grow, the pressure increases. Your emotions are more intense. Your thoughts louder. Your fears sharper. Your habits unbearable. Your old life too small. This is not weakness. This is spiritual labor. When a seed outgrows its shell, the shell must crack. When a butterfly is ready to be born, the cocoon must break. When awareness wants to expand, your old patterns must die. And the universe tests you by intensifying everything until you can no longer pretend. Radha called this the inner fire that purifies the mind. It does not punish. It burns away what cannot follow you forward. 6. The purification begins. Radha's divine light invocation teaches that light cannot enter a mind full of noise. It cannot enter a heart full of avoidance. It cannot enter a life full of falsehood. So the purification begins by removing what you refuse to remove. Not to punish you, but because you cannot rise while carrying what weighs you down. 7. When life feels like it's falling apart. There will come a moment where you feel like the universe is stripping everything away. Plans unravel. Relationships shake. Your sense of identity dissolves. Your confidence cracks. You feel directionless, tired, alone. This is the threshold between your old consciousness and your next awareness. They hide in distractions to avoid the pain, but the test is simple. Can you stay present while everything old dissolves? 8. The hidden law of inner light. Every spiritual tradition knows this truth. The universe tests you before it reveals you. It empties you before it fills you. It shakes you before it awakens you. Radha described this as the burning away of the false self, so the true self can shine. You cannot receive divine light while still attached to what dims it. So the universe removes people who drain you, desires that mislead you, habits that numb you, beliefs that limit you, fears that shrink you, illusions that blind you. The removal feels like loss, but it is preparation, like a room being cleared before a sacred ceremony, like a wick being trimmed before lighting the lamp, like clouds parting before dawn. Nothing is being taken from you. Everything is being made ready for you. 9. The ego fights back. When purification deepens, your ego begins to fight. It wants to cling to the familiar. It wants old comforts, old people, old labels, old distractions. The ego says, I'm losing everything. But the soul says you're losing only what does not belong. The ego says, I'm falling apart. But the soul says, you're breaking open. The ego says, this is unfair. But the soul says, this is necessary. The test is not what you go through. The test is which voice you choose to believe. 10. The turning point. There is always one moment, quiet, internal, barely noticeable, that changes everything. A moment where you stop fighting, stop chasing, stop resisting, stop trying to control what is changing. A moment where you exhale and think, maybe I am being prepared. At that moment, your energy shifts, your mind softens, your heart opens. The universe feels your surrender, not as defeat, but as readiness. And that is when awakening begins. When your resistance drops, your transformation can finally rise. The discipline of awareness. Once the resistance breaks, once the ego stops fighting, the path becomes quieter. Not easier, quieter. For the universe does not awaken you through chaos forever. It awakens you through discipline, awareness, and inner clarity. This is where Swami Radha's teachings become essential. She said, awareness is the highest form of discipline. Without it, no light can stay. Awakening is not a single moment of bliss. It is a continuous practice of seeing, pausing, understanding, and choosing truth over habit. The universe now watches. Will you fall back into old patterns, old reactions, old emotional wounds? Or will you hold the stillness you discovered when everything fell apart? This is the second test. Can you live what you have learned? 12. Honesty as a spiritual tool. After the first wave of tests, something profound begins to shift. You no longer fear looking at yourself. This is the true purification, not changing who you are, but becoming honest with yourself. Honest about your patterns, honest about your fears, honest about your desires. Honest about your wounds, honest about your intentions. Not to judge yourself, but to illuminate yourself. Radha taught that divine light is attracted to honesty the way a flame is drawn to oxygen. When you stop lying to yourself, your inner world begins to breathe. This is how light enters you. Not through perfection, but through transparency. 13. The universe tests your integrity. As your awareness grows, life begins testing you in subtle ways. A small temptation, a tiny lie, a moment of anger, an old wound resurfacing, a familiar comfort calling your name, an opportunity to betray your values. The universe whispers, "Now that you see clearly, will you choose clearly?" This is not punishment. It is calibration. You are being shaped into someone who can hold divine light without distorting it. For awareness without integrity becomes manipulation. Power without purity becomes ego. So the universe tests your alignment, not with loud chaos now, but with quiet choices. 14. The test of patience. Every awakening reaches a moment where nothing seems to be happening. You won't receive signs. You won't receive clarity. You won't feel progress. You won't feel the excitement of transformation. You will feel stillness, almost like a spiritual pause button. This is the test of patience. Radha called it the incubation of light, when the soul is rearranging itself in ways the mind cannot understand. The ego hates this phase. It wants action, movement, certainty. But the soul knows this stillness is not emptiness. It is gestation. It is integration. It is foundation building for the next level of your life. If you can remain calm in this pause, you pass the test. 15. The test of faith. Then comes the deeper test, faith. Not religious belief, not hope, not blind trust, but the quiet confidence that even when nothing makes sense, the universe knows what it is doing. Faith is not the belief that everything will go your way. Faith is the understanding that everything will go the right way. Radha said, "Faith is the light you carry into the unknown." And so the universe tests you by placing you in the unknown, not to frighten you, but to teach you that clarity does not come from certainty, but from awareness. Faith is the courage to walk without needing the path to appear fully. And when you take that step, the next stone always rises to meet your foot. When you stop running, awakening becomes possible the moment you stop running from yourself. Most people don't fear the world. They fear meeting themselves in silence. But after the tests, when illusions have fallen and distractions have broken, you have nowhere left to run. This is mercy, not cruelty, because now you finally face the truth without filters, masks, or defenses. And in that moment, you realize that the thing you feared within was never a monster. It was a wounded child asking for light. You sit with your emotions. You watch your thoughts. You feel your pain without drowning in it. You stop trying to fix or escape anything. And suddenly, peace appears. Awakening begins when you stop trying to escape yourself. The moment light appears, when the tests have humbled you, when patience has steadied you, when honesty has purified you, when faith has anchored you, when awareness has matured you, the light appears. Not as a vision, not as a miracle, not as some cosmic event, but as clarity, as understanding where confusion used to live, as calm where fear used to rule, as compassion where wounds used to speak, as courage, where hesitation once controlled you, as forgiveness, where resentment was rooted, as presence, where distraction lived. Divine light doesn't always shine dramatically. Sometimes it simply rearranges the inside of your mind so gently you don't notice the moment it happened, but others will. They will feel your peace, your softness, your steadiness, your depth, your silence, your energy. This is illumination, the transformation everyone feels even before you speak. When tests become teachers, as your awareness expands, you begin to reinterpret everything you once called tests. The betrayal becomes a redirection. The loss becomes an opening. The delay becomes protection. The struggle becomes purification. The confusion becomes growth. The heartbreak becomes rebirth. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" you begin to ask, "What is this revealing in me?" This shift changes everything. Pain becomes information. Challenges become mirrors. Obstacles become invitations. Darkness becomes a teacher. Tests become initiations. This is maturity of awakening. The world stops hurting you and starts teaching you. The universe gives the final test. The last test is the quietest, the gentlest, the most subtle. It is the test of embodiment. You know the truth now. You feel the light. You understand awareness. You see illusions. You recognize patterns. You trust the universe. But can you live it? Can you stay centered when others are not? Can you respond with awareness when triggered? Can you remain open when life challenges you? Can you choose growth over comfort? Can you stay still in a world obsessed with movement? Can you shine without needing to be seen? The final test is not passed through meditation, wisdom, or knowledge. It is passed through living your light in ordinary moments. The enlightened strength that emerges. When you embody awareness, a new strength begins to rise. Not egoic power, but inner power. A strength that doesn't need to prove. A strength that doesn't need to control. A strength that doesn't need validation. This strength is gentle but unbreakable, soft but unwavering, quiet but unmistakable. Radha said, "When the mind is purified, strength moves through you like divine light." You are no longer shaped by the world. You shape the world by the clarity of your presence. This is what the tests were preparing you for. Awakening is a return. The universe does not awaken you to make you someone else. It awakens you to return you to who you truly are. Every test strips away what is false. Every challenge cuts off what weighs you down. Every loss removes what was dimming your light. Every delay redirects you toward alignment. Every silence deepens your root. Every surrender expands your spirit. Awakening is not becoming. It is remembering, revealing, uncovering, returning. You are not transformed into something new. You are stripped down to something true. The hidden law revealed. Now the full truth becomes clear. The universe tests you only to awaken you. It awakens you only to illuminate you. It illuminates you only to free you. Everything is preparation. Everything is alignment. Everything is part of the divine choreography that brings you back to yourself. The tests were never punishments. They were invitations to rise into your own light. The universe was not against you. It was shaping you, protecting you, softening you, strengthening you, purifying you, revealing you. You were being prepared for a life that matches your soul, not your fear. The light you become. Once you have passed through the tests, you become a presence of quiet illumination. People feel safer around you. They feel seen, heard, understood, calmed. Because awakened people don't shine light at others. They shine light into others by being themselves. Radha said, to awaken is not to shine. It is to reflect the divine light wherever you go. Your life becomes your teaching. Your silence becomes your guidance. Your stillness becomes your power. Your compassion becomes your language. Your awareness becomes your medicine. And now you understand the final revelation. You were never being tested to see if you were worthy. You were being shaped so you could hold the light you were always destined to carry.